Hey, what's going on, guys? How's it going? Here is something that we haven't really done for EverQuest in a little while now. This is how all of my content always started back in the day. Even before I was streaming, I would basically just boot up OBS and I would walk you guys through some of what I did when I was playing EverQuest solo. Right now, I am on the Vaniki server. This is a time lock progression server that is at the end of its life cycle. And by end of its life cycle, I mean it has reached live. It is currently all the way up to the Outer Brood expansion. It's been that way for several months now. What makes this server unique is that it was an achievement-based server. Basically, the whole point of the server was to beat content, 5 to 10 levels lower than what the content is. So let me see here. I think currently 115 is the highest. Yeah, 115 is the highest level you can be on this server right now because the level cap is currently 125. So when the next expansion drops, it will be raising to 120 because the cap will be 130. Basically, you would have this claim list of specific achievements you would complete to get special items to claim. Like Frightening Food Flask, Trinket of the Far Frozen Waste, Visage of Vaniki. There were lots and lots of achievements. I'll probably end up putting like the link to that in the bio. There were lots of achievements basically that you would want to do that would give you specific claims that you could claim on any server on EverQuest, whether it's a brand new server, a brand new TLP. It's actually kind of broken because of the food and drink that you could summon. You would get these food and drinks that was infinite stats, and on tradable servers you could trade and sell those items. So it's kind of broken. You could also get special titles like the penultimate element and stuff like that. See here. What is it? Player name. I think I've got player names turned down to 1. Let me see here. Player name. Show name. There we go. So this is what it would look like. We would have you've got cool titles and stuff like that you can go through and claim. This penultimate element I think was beating Solusek Row in the Buried Sea at level 65 because the Buried Sea was level 75 expansion. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to walk through and show you guys some of the stuff I'm doing on this server. I've got several item claims and several items on this character that give me increased stats. One of the special things about the server is the fact that there are no level requirements on items. So you can see I'm a level 1 Beastlord. So let me go through and I'm going to buy some items for this character. Beastlord. Here we go. I think this dude probably has a full set of gear that I can buy. So Conflagrant gear is level 110 gear. And these people will make full sets of this Conflagrant gear that you can wear at level 1. That's part of the perks of having a no level requirement server. It's level recommended. So whenever you're wearing this gear, it actually ends up giving you, let's see here, it gives you basically reduced stats. We're going to need 2 of those. It gives you reduced stats. So basically, whenever you're leveling up, you're going to be getting a larger portion of those stats as you level. It may not make sense now, but basically, even though this item here shows it's got 4,800 hit points, let me show you what it looks like when I equip it. 44 hit points. and one of each of the stats. So it gives you the items, it lets you wear the items at a greatly reduced efficacy, which is pretty cool. But what you'll end up seeing whenever we start leveling shortly is how much of those stats you end up getting as you level. Back whenever Vaniki, I want to say, God, it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I was really spending a lot of time on Vaniki. Let me look at my played time. I made this character in February of 24. So yeah, almost 2 years ago now. Anywho's, almost 2 years ago, I made this character and I was playing him quite frequently, and I loved running around and leveling as fast as possible, essentially turning you into an absolute powerhouse of a character. You can kill basically anything you want to at damn near any level range. It's actually insane, the stuff that you can end up killing. Like, look at this. We can wear this level 125 two-hand blunt item with a ratio of 32. I mean, clearly whenever I equip it, it's going to have horrible stats. But by the time we hit level 10, it is going to fly. Let's see what we've got here. So we're a little torn. There are a couple different things that we can do. We can either use like 2 one-handers, or we can use a two-hander. I'm thinking it's probably going to be better if we use 2 one-handers. It might genuinely be better if we use 2 one-handers just because of how good some of these stats are. Yeah, let's see here. 20 club of fiery. What you also want to do is you want to plan on making sure that you're getting items that typically have life steal on them, life tap, because it's whenever you're swinging, you're going to want to be able to get your health back without having to stop and cast spells. And it's looking like it's going to be a better idea if we use one-handers. We've got these one-handers. Abide. This one has a life tap on it, but this one has a higher ratio. We're probably going to want to use the life tap one. Yeah. Abide has heals your target's target. Yeah, we're going to use these 2 one-handers, I'm thinking. Let's do parcels. Let me see here. Parcels. Yeah, this is going to give us some really crazy stats. One of the things that you can also do, which is a really good idea on this server, is since there is no level requirement on most items, and most items are attunable for the most part and tradable. Let's see here. There are certain items that you can equip that give you ridiculous stats. Trying to think of the best way to describe this. So Worm Slayer, there is a honed Worm Slayer that you can actually put on. Let me see if I have one. I'm sure I've got one on this character. Honed. Yeah, here we go. Honed Worm Slayer. So even though I can't wear this, I can put it on my character and it will give me damage reduction for up to 1,750 points of damage per hit. So I can put it in my primary. So say I'm I'm panicking, I'm fighting something that's going to kill me, I can put this on and it will protect me for 100% of incoming damage for up to 1,750 damage per hit. Essentially, this is going to nullify any raid boss all the way up to like level 60, 65 at least. If I remember correctly, whenever I used it last time, I was able to solo General Reparm at like level 65. Something like that. It was some ridiculous number. Anywho's, it's really good. I've got a whole bunch of conflagrant gear on currently. It's pretty good stuff. Let me see here. Do I have a... I guess I can't really use any beneficial summoning pet stuff right now. Let's see if there's any slot. Let's see if there's anything better we can find to put in our slots here, because everything I'm wearing is currently conflagrant, and it was like the best in slot stuff like a year and a half ago. And here we are with numerous expansions. Better. So that's still base. Oh, I'm looking at my fucking find window, not bizarre. Huh? It's like, wait, surely there's better than this now. Okay. Ooh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. 2 parcels. Jesus, that's better. And find. One of the things you will have to find out about this server is the fact that it's pretty dead. In classic EverQuest TLP fashion, by the time it ended up making it to live, it's pretty fucking dead. Like, let's do all general list. There are 101 people in general chat right now, to give you an idea. Doesn't necessarily say that that's the population, but that should give you a pretty damn good idea. It's not good. Moral of the story. Not good in terms of population. And it's also because of the fact that it is an achievement-based server, so people will basically wait for an expansion to drop. They'll pop in, do the expansion achievements, and then log out, which makes sense. Slayer, we do want one of those power sources. Oh, shit. Can we make better stuff already? Obscured. Oh my god, we can. Oh shit. Okay. Okay, let me buy some of this stuff real quick first, and we might be getting us some much better gear. What do we need for this? Essence. Resonant or Aurotite of the Enthralled. Oh shit. Bestowing unrivaled strength. Well, and a class symbol. So let's get us a chest piece. Obscured resonant chest armor. Let me see here. Oh, that's even better. Oh my god. Obscured chest armor of the Enthralled. That's 1,000,000 platinum, though. I don't know if we're going to spend that much money on this. Obscured resonant chest armor. This is 11,500. Fury of the Beast. What does it do? It's better stats, basically. That one's 100,000. So we're going to buy that. Obscured arms of the Enthralled. Yeah, that we want that. Feet. Where's legs? Obscured legs armor of the Enthralled. So this way we get chest, arms, and legs because that's ferocity. Cleave, and it gives us a really good chest piece. So let's see. Put that on first. Okay, so we have 2 Enthralled. The Shackled. Oh, so we need 2 Enthralled. And then this one needs gallant, resonance, faceted. Oh, dude. Can we not even get one? Okay, well, we'll worry about these two pieces for now. The stats really aren't going to be giving us that much more right now anyways, but that will eventually be a little bit better for us. Okay, so that's chest piece. Arms, back. Let's see if we can get anything better while we're here. Something better for cheap. Yeah, no, we're not spending that much. Chest, ear. Leading, athletic, ingenious. Quick and flagrant. Surely one of these has... Nope, there's no pet ones. Dear God, no, that's way too expensive. Hands, head, held, legs, neck. Rigid, conflagrant. That's an attack speed increase. 200,000. I don't know if that's going to be worth that. Primary, range, secondary, waist. Waist is almost always going to be important for us. Because what are we wearing right now? We have overdrive punch. We want something a little bit better. Crippling crippling slicer, not splicer. No. I think overdrive punch one is going to have to do for now. Okay, so let's go get our class symbols real quick. Should be one that is going to be in POK. We'll make our 2 items and then we're going to go out and start punching stuff. All right, let's get our class symbol. Where's my class symbol? Do you have my class symbol? You do not. Here for my bags to freak some people out. I think the Beastlord symbol is sold here. Emblem of the Feral Lord. There we go. Okay. Let's not have them layered on top of each other. There we go. My hit points went down. What? I'm gonna assume that that is a glitch. That's okay. We're gonna go with it. Stats are weird. They went down even further. We went from level 110 gear to level 125 gear with literally 2.5 times the stats. Never mind the problems. We won't even bother discussing it. Okay. Are we going to get spells? No. Do we need spells? No. Gonna give us some buffs. Well, it's not gonna matter. Most of the stuff is gonna end up wearing off pretty quick anyways. Let's go kill. The best part is now you're gonna see as soon as we hit level 10, our stats are going to likely triple. If I remember correctly how it was a year and a half ago, whenever we first started killing things, yeah, they skyrocket. We honestly don't even need to go to Crescent Reach. Let's see. Oh, the Fire Strike, yeah. 49. Yeah, Overdrive Punch. Oh my god, Advanced Loot. Kind of EXP we're getting. There's no reason for us to kill here, to be honest. Everything has way more hit points than it needs to, but we're going to go to what is one of my favorite leveling zones, which is Crescent Reach. This is some of the best content, as far as I'm concerned, that EverQuest has ever put out. Now that we're done shopping and doing all the checklist things, one of the things I did want to talk about is hopes for future TLPs. I really, really, really want to see a future TLP that is really based in power fantasy. Maybe something like Vaniki, but maybe remove the achievement-based part of it. Make it just like an absolute power fantasy server. One where everyone is welcome to what is EverQuest. Part of the big barriers to entry I've always said for EverQuest is the fact of how difficult, maybe not difficult, but tedious the game is. The problem is a lot of people make it more difficult than it needs to be. They look at all of what's happening and they have no idea what to understand, but they just need to know, think of it like World of Warcraft, but even more simple. You get weapon, you hit enemy with weapon, you loot, you do it again and again and again. I really want them to introduce a power fantasy server where it is very, very basic. Maybe make it like, level cap like 85 or 90 or something, but remove 90% of the button bloat and the things that have made EverQuest so hard for people to understand over the years, and simplify it. Just give us a very, very basic version of MMO, but power fantasy, so anybody can pick it up and anybody can start, and anybody can make it to the end game. If you make a game like that, the problem is you will start to alienate your core audience. But at this point, let's be really honest here. I don't think the core audience for EverQuest would be concerned with it. It would be nice to have it as an option, so the people who have put down EverQuest due to time constraints or lack of socializing, lack of community, those people would maybe be willing to pick it back up and to start playing again. Just due to the fact that there are a lot of people who do want to play EverQuest, but they don't have the time to do so. That's one of the reasons I liked Vaniki so much. This server, whenever I came in, was already like level cap was, I want to say, like 95 or something at the time, because it was level 105 content. And then at level 110, Conflagrant gear dropped and it started being readily available for everybody. And then you could put Conflagrant gear on your character and just run around and just absolutely destroy. You could have a really, really good time. You could put these crazy items and weapons. Like, look, we've dinged 2 levels and we've already gained 3,500 hit points because of just how much these items are going to start changing soon. Like, let's look at this weapon. It's damage 11, delay 18. A few minutes ago, it was damage 3, delay 18. So let me show you what it looks like whenever we level again. It's 11:18 right now with 274 hit points. Let's ding again. 11:18. It's now 14, 18. We gained an extra 1,000 hit points. And bear in mind, guys, I'm not wearing the best gear. I'm still wearing some conflagrant gear from 8 or 9 expansions ago on this character. We're already starting to kill everything in 1 or 2 hits. These enemies are all 4, 5, 6 levels higher than me. For the most part. There's no point in us fighting the super high level stuff because we're getting capped EXP. We're getting 10% a kill. We're not going to get any more than that. There's no reason to make our character have to stop and swing an extra 1 or 2 times. Boom, level 5. We are now getting more and more heroic stats for everything. This is now damage 18, delay 18 weapon. And as I said earlier, this is why there's no point in us trying to pull out a pet or get our spells, because we're going to be level 60 really before we even blink. Here, we don't have a chat window even open, so let's close that puppy down. Move this over here. Get a little bit more of our UI here. And I didn't even stop to put purity augments on this stuff, which I probably should do, so we get more of this power source. Because right now we're not getting much of our power source either. That's another reason why things are going to start skyrocketing even more, is because whenever I played last, power sources were pretty infrequent already. Okay, let's go over here to these guys. We're already level 14. We have a damage 21, delay 18. We're going up roughly 3 damage every single level now. Auto skill. What do we got? Auto skill kick. God, this is so fucking glorious. I used to do this on stream, a year and a half ago, and it was so fun. I remember doing this at first, and a lot of people came in and they were like, guys, could you imagine if we had a power fantasy server that we could play that was like this? And that's what one of the many things that I kept begging for was like, if only they gave us like an overhaul for the game. Could you imagine what this game would look like if they gave us like a stat squish? They squished the stats down. They removed 80% of the bloat for the game. They gave us a very, very particular tutorial that would take you from like 1 to 20 that would go over the story and the past of the game and explain the glory of the game. And it would show like 1 through 15, 1 through 20, and it would take you through like 5 or 6 of the old school expansions, just showing you zones and taking you through these cinematic story raid boss fights that showed kind of what has turned EverQuest into this. I think it would be very cool, and it wouldn't take much, I feel like, to give us like these cool cinematic fights, because they already have these, a lot of these raids already have like these kind of like bot mechanics involved where they have enemies fighting each other. It's just all scripted content. They could give us like these really cool scripted fights that would show some of the core raid fights that have made EverQuest. They could give us like a cinematic showing these adventurers running through and awakening the sleeper. They could give us a cinematic of these adventurers running through and fighting all the way up through Quarm, and then Drizzle Row Thanos snaps and resets the timeline. Then they could fast forward to the split that gave us EverQuest 2, and how the EverQuest 2 line kind of reemerged much later into the life cycle. There's so many things that they could do that would give us like a really cinematic overview of EverQuest, and then boom, you're level 15 or level 20. And then from there you start, you're in Crescent Reach or something like that. And then you've got a full set of gear, and then you could go through and you could start adventuring with the mercenary. And you've got a storyline that actually takes you all the way up to 60 or 70. And then at that point you have the new content that is readily available for anybody to access. I feel like you would get a lot more people participating in the expansions if it was something that they could just drop in and start participating in. The problem is whenever you have these expansions that are made for 1% of your audience, only 1% of the audience will be purchasing your expansion. And I don't know. Obviously, I'm just an armchair developer. Everything I have to say is just hopes and dreams of what I wish that they would do, because there's nothing I really want more than to see EverQuest succeed. That's why I've played it so much over the last few years. I would love to see them give us what made EverQuest great, but also maybe not reinvent the wheel, but maybe kind of reinvent EverQuest in the process. Make it this readily available product like World of Warcraft does to the masses. The problem is if you have these people coming in and they see this game now and they're like, oh, that's cool, but they don't realize that what I'm playing here is 16-year-old content at the very latest. And then by the time you get to the content for the last decade, it's this overwhelming content that is literally impossible to solo. And that's got to change. That really, really has to change. Even if you don't change it permanently, maybe make it something that a lot of people can go through and play on a seasonal cycle, kind of like what Legion does. So you constantly have these like they do TLPs. You get these TLPs that drop once a year, but instead of doing that, you have like these seasonal power fantasy remixes of the game that give you this cool reintroduced version of EverQuest, where even if that's all you play, you still gave them a subscription for, half of the year. And then whenever it goes back to like their regular expansion life cycle, you're like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of that. And then you just put the game down and you wait for the next thing to come along. Something like that would be really cool. Look at this. It's already damaged 35, delay 18. These items are going to be just absolutely fucking insane. Also didn't realize how loud. Here, we're going to turn that all down. This way you guys can still hear everything, but it's not going to be almost as loud as my voice. There we go. That way you still get some EverQuest noise. It's been 10 minutes of me sitting here talking with loud skeleton laughing and all this good stuff, so I apologize. But I don't know, there's so much that they could do. Now that I'm picking the game back up and I'm kind of just sitting here talking to myself like I used to when I was sitting here just playing through 30, 45 minutes to an hour at a time, I would just sit here and just kind of talk to myself, thinking about all the cool things that they could do with this game that would really help revitalize it. And I feel like if they just invested even like a year of, rather than putting out an expansion, maybe they just invested a year into revitalizing the game and pulling in a whole new core audience or maybe a return audience. I think it could be much more beneficial to them than just putting out another expansion that they're hoping will pull people in and make them look for friends to pull them back into the new content. Because don't get me wrong, guys, whenever I came back to Mischief, God, it must have been June of this year. Whenever I came back, it's been a lot of fun. It really, really is. But part of the reason that it's so fun for me is because I was handed this raid of people that are peak efficiency. These people are insanity. There's only been like 2 or 3 raid nights out of all these months that I've been playing now that I've really stepped back and been like, man, I really didn't enjoy that. And that's only just because of like getting achievements done. But for the most part, I've really fucking love like what the end game of EverQuest looks like when you're raiding. So I don't really want them to change like the raiding situation. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would love to experience that still too. But it would be fantastic if they were able to pull in these players that were able to mutually benefit from the game, as well as the end game raiders. So don't really fuck with the endgame raiders and the people who've been here for years and years and years, because you obviously don't want to piss off those people. But give the people who want something new, but still EverQuest, give them that. Vaniki has done a really good job of that as far as I'm concerned, because it gives you this awesome power fantasy where you can just fucking destroy, but you only get that on this server. You get a little bit of that on the Furion V server with items that are treatable, but the most part, that's only going to include like the first 5 or 6 expansions worth of items, because at that time, everything starts to become level required. And since it's level required, you have to be that level to obtain it, and you never really get that sense of power fantasy, because by the time you get to equip it, everything that you're fighting already hits 10 times harder. Because whenever you jump from like level 60 to 65, everything gets all your items basically at that point start having like 200 to 220 hit points. And then at level 65 to 70, everything starts having anywhere from like 270 to 370 hit points, and then 75 drops, and then suddenly everything starts to have 575 to 600 hit points, and then 80 hits, and then suddenly everything has 2000 hit points. And then literally here we are, you know, coming up on level 130, and items start to have, you know, 20 to 30,000 hit points. Everything that is hitting you starts to hit for 200,000 and 300,000, sometimes even more than that if you're a raid tank. It's these exponential jumps, and the fact that it's so difficult for people to come in and pick up the game and just start playing it. And not just that, nothing sucks more than it does whenever you come in and you start playing the game and you start getting really invested in it, and by session 4 you are now too high level to do anything yourself. Your mercenaries abilities and intellect has just face dove off a cliff. It dies in 2 or 3 hits to literally everything. There's nobody around to help you. Whenever you ask an OOC chat for help, you have people who just laugh at you and tell you to get good, scrub, because they're so jaded because they've been playing the game for 26 years. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not the experience for everybody, but whenever I was like the face for Furion V to push people into EverQuest Live and to come back and try the game, they would subscribe. They would give their, you know, they would buy the chrono, they would start playing, but before you knew it, 5 or 6 streams later, they would come into my stream and they would be like, hey, where are the people? Who am I supposed to be playing with? There's like nothing that's going on. Like where are the people at? And I literally just had to be like, look, man, I'm sorry. The best thing I can say is I hope you just start to make your own community. And that's kind of what happened. I had people who would come in and they would spend their time and effort and money, but literally if they didn't start forming friendships like right off the bat, and even if they did that most of the time, it would end up flopping pretty quick. So you have this huge population of people sitting at the top end of EverQuest, and you have this huge population of people who are downloading it, installing the game. Maybe not a huge population, but you have this group of people who are coming in and installing the game, and they were looking to play. And then to get from point A to point Z, there is all this schmegma that is told to people about how you need to start boxing. If you don't box, you need to start forming these friendships in groups. You guys need to play at the same time. You need to play anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a week to hopefully be able to get anywhere. Oh, by the way, there's this overseer thing that you get at level 85 that will start giving you a good chunk of EXP. But to do it, you have to log in anywhere from every 6 to 12 hours to do these little menial tasks that give you 5 to 6% EXP. Do that over and over again, by the way, until eventually you get to max level. Oh, and now that you're max level, your mercenary's useless. Your gear that you're wearing from 2 expansions ago, yeah, that's not going to work. So now you're going to have to start buying chrono and then using that chrono to hopefully get gear from people who may be selling it. Maybe you're on a server like Vaniki and there's less than 100 people who are playing, quote unquote, playing online, and they're probably not actively engaging with you. I've seen no one talk in general aside from like one person asking if anybody's selling achievements. You have basically a dead server at that point. And then they're going to ask themselves, why did I invest this time and effort? The nostalgia is gone. I'm going to uninstall. And that's not really a good feeling or a good look. Because don't get me wrong, like I said, I have all these suggestions and ideas, but it's going to actually take work. It's going to take them actually stopping and listening to the community and doing the thing. I don't know the big picture when it comes to what their plans are. They have been successfully updating the game in many ways recently. I know they updated the stats for mercenaries. They're constantly going through and trying to fix these old bugs and glitches. It seems like they're trying to make whatever next TLP they're planning to do. It seems like they're trying to make it something really good, which I'm really hopeful. I just don't know what to expect because this last TLP, Fangbreaker, I see what they were aiming for. It's just definitely not for me because I've never wanted to be one of the people who's like, oh, that server sucks ass. It might suck ass for me, and I may have even said that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad server. There are probably people who really enjoy it. It just might not be the biggest audience. Vaniki is one of those servers. A lot of people hate Vaniki as a server. I fucking love it. I genuinely love it. I'm sitting here at level 15 with 25,000 hit points. I am using these insane items already. It's insanity. I need to go through and actually buy some energetic augments. I can't remember. I always mispronounce the name, but I'm loving this. This is honestly, and I will still always say it's one of the best EverQuest servers they've ever given us. But I also like free trade. And I know that's a pretty divisive opinion to have. A lot of people really don't like free trade EverQuest. I will never understand that because I will not play on any server ever again that's not free trade, unless it's got to have like some incredible rule set that I'm just not familiar with. Otherwise, like I said, I'll probably just never play on it. A tunable is cool because whenever I played on Oakwind, God, that server is going to fucking be insane in another year. It's already really cool now, but in another year when you've got basically 200% everything, you're going to have 200% EXP, 200% loot, 200% faction, 200% coins. It's going to be a crazy server. That's going to be a server I will definitely be going back to at some point, just so I can see how cool it is. But I digress. Like I said, one of the many things that I really just want to see them do is I want to see them make changes to future-proof the game. And I really do think one of the things that it's going to require them to do is to do a lot of work on the back end when it comes to making this a game that people will not only install and play, but they will continue to play. It's super easy to get somebody who's played EverQuest before. It's super easy to get them to reinstall the game. The problem is what happens after play sessions 4, 5, and 6. I say that, like I said, because of all the streaming I've done and all the friends that I've made who still watch and interact with the content. But the problem is like I said, by play session 4, 5, or 6, maybe a little bit longer sometimes, they'll install the game, they'll look around, and then suddenly they're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? I can't solo anything. I'm trying to do these quests, but I need people for it. My mercenary is now useless. I am wearing gear still from level 1. There's so much barrier to entry, but a lot of people will even make it past the initial entry. That's why I keep talking about, play session 4, 5, or 6, because you just won't keep those players engaged. And that's really, really tough because now you've gotten this person who used to love EverQuest and you've soured the taste for them because they've reinstalled the game finally. They're playing it, but they can't fucking do anything with it. And then they're going to be directed to all these different servers with all these different rule sets. And whenever they log in to look at one of these more permanent servers like Burtox or Bristlebane, they're going to see this super top heavy population. They're going to ask people for help, and the community will do what it always does. It will soil the experience, for lack of a better insult there. And I only say that because the number of people I've interacted with at the top end of EverQuest are typically just not really nice people. A lot of the really nice people I've interacted with have been people who were in similar situations to me. Maybe they're constantly looking for another way to enjoy the game, or they're looking for a community, they're looking for more friends to play with. But I'm telling you, it's just impossible to get someone to stay in the game. I lucked through a lot of it when I came back in 2020, and I just brute forced it. I joined a guild called Emerald Alliance, a fear of FV at the time, and it was the biggest, most populated guild on the server. I had some nice people that were willing to help invest time and effort into me to help me understand the game. But even still with that, there is still so much about the end game that I don't know. Raiding on Mischief has been eye-opening for me because it is so difficult to follow the curve of expansions X, Y, and Z and content that you had to have done 6 expansions ago to help you with this current expansion. Like, oh shit, you need this achievement from Empires of Kunark, otherwise these green Sarnax will fart in your direction and you will just explode. Or you need all these hero AAs to have this extra layer of power for your character, otherwise if you're a tank, you are fucked because you're going to be getting hit for 85k instead of just 65k. I don't know. And I keep talking like I'm trying to help them understand that I want EverQuest to be a great game for new players to play, but that might not even be the intentions anymore. Maybe they just want EverQuest to be this content that, a small portion of people interact with, and that's it. And they're good with covering their baseline, and they just want to make the next TLP that is maybe a slight change from the last, and that will keep them occupied enough to be fine. And if that's the case, that's fine. Oh shit, we're level 20 now. 69-18. Started as damage 3, delay 18, and now we're at damage 69, delay 18. I'd say that's pretty damn good. We've already got over 100 and some heroic stats. We are boogieing. I love this server. It's so fun. Literally at this point, if we wanted to, we could just go solo any boss. We could probably solo. Well, we know for sure we could solo Nagafin because we soloed Nagafin and Vox at level 1 previously. That was using our handy dandy feather, which I don't know where my feather is, but we've got a feather. Here it is. Got our handy dandy feather that we can click that gives us a damage shield of 5,000. So it'll kill basically anything up to the damn near level 60. Also gives us crazy HP regeneration. The problem is we're going to get to the point to where our damage is finally uncapped. I say it's a problem, like it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Our damage is going to be uncapped fully at level 27. I think it's either 26 or 27 that they've removed both the haste cap and the damage cap. Oh, fuck, I forgot to click these. Bruh. That's such a huge portion of our buffs that we just forgot about. Well, there we go. We could have had so much more AC and stuff by now, but we're stupid. Moral of the story, we're stupid. Anyways, we've clicked a whole bunch of our abilities now, and we have like over 1,000 AC. We also have a whole bunch of damage shield. Let's see here. Let's re-click this. Our little pet, our succulent pet that's going to give us some extra stats. Call a fire, clicky. Oh, that's right. They removed the required stats for that. Veil of Flames. Let's give us another little damage shield. I think that'll stack with what we've currently got. Interrupted? Waited a long time to tell me it was interrupted. Come on, baby. Oh, illusionary spikes. Blocked it. Whatever. Where's our pet? Our little mount. Here we go. Here we go. Come here, Missy. But yeah, Vaniki just gives me the power fantasy that I look for when I just want to log in and just be able to kill damn near anything that I want. It'll just be really slow if we have any issue. If we were being smart, we would be using our thorns feather that we were just talking about to power level ourselves, but we're already going to be leveling so fast, there's no need to. But yeah, I look forward to the day that whatever ends up happening with EverQuest, I don't want to see it fail. I really want to see some reinvention. I want to see some big, massive overhaul that brings in a whole big population to people to see why I love EverQuest. Because it's a shame whenever you see a game that you absolutely love. And I'm not saying that the devs are squandering it. I'm just saying that the devs at this point seem like they've been so focused on making sure that we keep the same top heavy people happy that we've lost out on a lot of people who could have joined and stuck around. And it would be really nice to see a happy medium. I just know when you have a dev team that is as small as it is, that you're going to be pretty limited with what you get. And I'm not faulting them for that at all. I get it. It's a game that's been going for literally 26 years now. Like, what are you going to expect? But man, if I could see some overhaul thing happen, like with old school RuneScape, where it wasn't really an overhaul, but they were basically able to sell it to a wider audience that came back and made it this great new thing, or a return of a thing. Or maybe even how World of Warcraft has managed to keep like 5 or 6 versions of the game active, and all you pay is like one subscription. And because of that, they've been able to appease the majority of the audience. There have been people who obviously quit and moved on, but a lot of people who did quit and move on came back to play some other version of it that's been available, rather than being like, okay, we have EverQuest TLP and we have EverQuest Live. Those are your 2 versions. Because Vaniki in itself has been like this whole new way to play EverQuest. And it would be nice to see this as like a base version of the game that you can play. Like you have this OP EverQuest where you hop in, and even if you just have fun, you know, joshing, just running around killing stupid shit, there's not really any end game for it. And you're just running around destroying things. And it gives everyone, if they just want to hop in with the boys and, you know, drink and have some fun, Maybe give them these cool achievements and stuff that they can run around, and you've grouped and killed an entire raid boss. Congratulations, here's this cool ability. Maybe do something like that, because I know they did something like that for EverQuest 2, where they gave people on, I can't remember which server it was, but they basically had this item that allowed them to play and do raid, like group and raid content, either by themselves or with a smaller force. And something like that would just be fucking phenomenal. I know a lot of the people that I interact with, and there for a while, it was a huge group of people that I interacted with that have all agreed that that's one of the things that would bring them to the game, would be something that they can just hop in and play and not have to worry about LFGing for hours. They wouldn't have to worry about doing the same thing over and over again. It could give them a new way to experience the game. But if you want that classic feeling for EverQuest, you've still got those servers to do it. And I know even earlier I mentioned having like a stat squish, and oh my god. A stat squish and like a bulk squish of either removing content or streamlining content. So no matter which expansion you went to, it was your current level that you could solo. You would get such a huge community engagement. Even if they turned it into something like Elder Scrolls Online, where no matter which content you chose to engage with, it was your current level content. You had this overarching story, which a lot of those servers, a lot of those expansions have. They have like their partisan quest and the quest that you do from zone to zone to zone that give you achievements in these group missions. If you could turn that all into either a soloable or merkable, moloable experience, you could really start to sell some expansions. I really do think you could see that some numbers just really balloon. It would also be much easier for like myself being a content creator to be able to sell that to an audience. Because there's so much about EverQuest that I love, that I do want to show people. But man, it's only because I've been playing for so long that I have that knowledge. It's so overwhelming to have someone come in and be like, okay, so what gear and equipment are you using? Okay, how do I get that? Okay, what? And I'm like, okay, well, what I do is I have this very specific mount that I've summoned from this specific bundle that's not available anymore, by the way, that gives you this mount buff. And because I have that mount buff, it also gives me a damage shield and a damage mitigation. Also, I click this specific illusion that gives me this other buff that I have. And in addition to that, you have to make sure you buy these 3 specific items. You're going to get a feather, you're going to get a horn, and you're going to get a pet. And all these items combined together will make you essentially invincible. Oh, by the way, also, there's this one specific quest that you're going to run that's going to give you a honed worm slayer that will mitigate 100% of damage up to 1,750 damage. And like literally I'll be halfway through that statement and they're going to be like, dude, I've already uninstalled. No. And the worst part is there going to be a lot of people, if you hear this, you're going to be rolling your eyes like, well, that's not really all necessary. You're right, it's not. But when people ask me how I'm doing what I'm doing, that's the mouth vomit, the word vomit that comes out. And they're just like, how are people expected to know this? And even 2 or 3 years ago, I put together a video on Furiana V that was how to have over 10,000 hit points at level 1 on a free trade server. So like Mischief Teak Furiana V. And even still, people then were like, so I have to spend how much money? And I have to farm how much to get that? Because it got to the point on Furiana V, I was farming and I was making like a chrono a week by farming these items and then selling them on the bazaar, and then using that money to buy chrono to fund my accounts, until eventually I was running like 19 specific accounts because I had so much loot that was just sitting around from character to character that I had my cool little system, and whenever I actually wanted a 3-box, I could 3-box without having to use any assistance and running around, and then eventually fabled content would happen, and whenever fabled enemies were spawning, which is another thing that a lot of people don't understand, these fabled versions of enemies would spawn only from like the middle of April to the middle of May due to the anniversary. And I would get those very specific fabled items and then sell those for like 5 times the profit. And it's so funny because, like I said, there are just so many people that would come in to my streams and they would be like, holy shit, this game is still going. Holy shit, there's someone streaming live EverQuest. Here, let me start taking notes. Like, how did you get to where you got? I'm like, oh yeah, well, it just took me 4 years of grinding and just kind of figuring it out along the way. And there are people who like, I'm a father. I have 2 hours a week to play. So what you're saying is what you're doing is going to be impossible for me to get there. Well, no, not impossible. It's just going to take you 10 years instead of 4. That's the kind of shit that, oh my, yeah. Like I said, I genuinely love this game. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be sitting here talking to myself, eventually hoping that at least 2 or 3 people are going to sit and watch the video and listen to it. Ooh, level 30. Damage 103, delay 18 at level 30. Hell yeah. Nice. Skill ups. These guys are still bright red. Oh, look, we're getting 22%. Oh my God, 22 and 23%. I think we're no longer, we have a higher EXP cap too, which is really nice. That's one of the things I've always disagreed with. A damage cap and an EXP cap. If I at level 1 want to go solo Nagafen, I should get 2 or 3 levels from that. At least. I know almost everyone disagrees with that, but yeah. You get my point. And now we're cruising. We're at 50,000 hit points and mana and endurance at level 32. We're also no longer haste capped, which is really nice. There's essentially no point in us summoning our pet yet, by the way. Even if we summoned our pet, it wouldn't be getting any effect to any enhanced minion item we have until level 101. Ooh. No point. Well, eventually, we'll summon our pet and it'll be worthwhile. It's just not yet. This is the server where we're not going to really need a mercenary for a really long time. Because even if we summoned one, it's not going to be doing much good. We're already punching for over 500. She. Here we go. See, WhiteCon giving us 14%. That's pretty good. This is a really good spot to farm all the way up to probably 35 or 36. God, I put together a level guide with the help of one of our buddies from the community. I had a level guide that I put together all the way to like level 110. I wanted it to be like the definitive level guide for live EverQuest for so long. Maybe that's something I'll have to pick back up. Okay, speaking of leveling post 100, that's another thing that really needs to change. I get that they want people to do like the missions and the quests and stuff for the expansions to get their levels. But for a game that's built off of murdering enemies to get EXP, to suddenly the EXP you're getting that's suboptimal is murdering enemies is not really a good thing. I feel like you want that to be the thing. Because they're not trying to be World of Warcraft, they're also not trying to be Final Fantasy. So because of that, we murder hobo. But if you're trying to change it to make these missions, and then personas being thrown into the mix too, where basically once you've got the achievement once and you've gotten the EXP bonus from it, you're not going to get it again. it really makes leveling personas hard. God, that was another thing that I ended up having a big issue with personas whenever that dropped. God, that was almost 2 years ago now. Personas dropped almost 2,000 years ago. Jesus Christ. Almost 2 years ago, Personas dropped. What a crazy fucking time since then. There's been so much that's changed. This is the kind of thing that I really wanted to get back to. Just sitting here, talking, playing the game that I love. And this has been really, really relaxing. There's been so much negativity from different people and different avenues of the community that has made me want to kind of go back to doing this. And I get why some people are like, they're negative and they're upset right now. But man, at some point, just step away. 100%. This is what I really enjoy right here. Fuck, we might be too high level for Stone Hive already. We're 34. Where should we go, actually? We're almost level 40. I guess we could start looking at what the hot zones are. But, oh man, some of the hot zones are horrible. That's another thing that could definitely use a good little change up. It'd be really cool if they gave us, if they would increase or decrease the Zem for some of these old school zones in addition to the hot zones. Because it's always been dungeons give you more EXP, right? That's the whole point. You're in a dangerous area, you're not wide open area. It's gonna fuck you up if danger happens. Like, you know, increased risk for increased reward. But some of these old school like open world zones could really use some love when it comes to where I would encourage people to level. You know, of course, I'm not talking about Skyfire. Fuck Skyfire. And whenever, okay, so you go from like these classic zones to Luckland zones to Gates of Discord zones when it comes to hot zones. And Gates of Discord is suboptimal, let's put it that way, when it comes to terms of difficulty and risk versus reward, because you might be in Rewe, Coliseum of Games, and you just went from fighting Luckland monsters that had 200% hit points and 50% damage to suddenly 200% hit points and 300% damage, where everything suddenly starts hitting 4 times harder than what it really needs to, because that's how Gates of Discord was tuned. That's a problem. I would consider that a problem personally. That's another one of those like barrier to entry things that I've been complaining about when it comes to your fourth or fifth play session. Like, you may have just come in and you were playing and you were doing classic content, Valius content, maybe even a little bit of Luckland content, and then suddenly you're 45 or 50 and it's like, hey, you want this hot zone? Yeah, Rewe Coliseum of Games. Fuck you. And I'm being sarcastic, but it's pretty damn bad. Some of those zones, some of those enemies are just, oh my god, Barandu, ooh, Farubi. Those zones are a pain. We're getting 8% a kill here, but these things are just falling over. These guys, dubious. Figured out already be KOS. Ooh. But yeah, God, I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Gates of Discord just being problematic in general. There are some expansions that were made to be more problematic than they needed to be. And just because of how EverQuest numbers go up and up and up, it's way more difficult than it needs to be. And that's definitely, Gates of Discord is definitely one of those expansions. Underfoot is another really big problem child when it comes to difficulty for no reason whatsoever. Claws of Evition, level 115. Ugh. God, I remember doing Claws of Evition 5 levels higher than, what is it, 5 levels? Yeah, 5 levels higher than it, and we still ran through and we just got fucking destroyed whenever we did our static group on Firion V. God, that was almost 3 years ago now. There is so much EverQuest I've done in the last few years, and it feels really good to return to the basics. Because this is exactly what I used to do. I would just sit here and talk and talk and talk and talk. Turn on some music, talk some more. There we go. Look at us, level 36, 55,000 hit points. Oh, that's right. We don't have double attack as a Beastlord. So we're going to be pigeonholed until 71. And then at 71 we get double attack, 76 we get triple attack. At that point, we'll start doing a little bit better damage. At that point, we're definitely going to need a mercenary, and we're definitely going to need a pet. At least by that time, our weapons and stuff should be pretty damn good. Like, they're already damage 123, 18. Like, I'm sitting here talking like these weapons aren't good, when typically at level 36, you're using a damage 13, delay 25 weapon. It's just interesting to see how the numbers, I feel like the numbers should be way higher than what we're currently hitting for. It just goes to show how numbers in this game matter, but they don't really matter. I feel like once we hit like 40 or something, our damage is just going to skyrocket. Like, it seems like there's another damage cap that they've instituted that I'm not familiar with. Because it used to be at like 30, the damage cap would fall off entirely, and you would just start hitting for ridiculous amounts. But it doesn't really feel like that anymore. Like, we're doing pretty damn good damage now. We're fighting, you know, what would be typically group content at this level. But it feels like we're still just not hitting as hard as we should. Of course, we're still essentially, you know, unkillable at this point. This is so good, though. This is going to be another character we're going to have another one of these play sessions where we can actually just kind of see how crazy the numbers are going to be as we go higher and higher. I just had a little bit of time to sit down and game tonight, and I figured it would be fun if we just sat here and returned to the basics. We just sit here, play some EverQuest, word vomit, talk about the hopes and things that I really, really hope that we end up seeing with the next TLP. Like, man, I'm serious. It would be so cool if the next TLP we saw some crazy reinvention of the wheel with EverQuest and give us some like major power fantasy server like Vaniki. Maybe remove the item level requirements and then have just items drop. Have like Gates of Discord stuff dropping from low level content, or have them as quests. So you're getting these insane items and you're just gearing up to these insane level, maybe not insane levels, but insane like HP and stats and stuff like this, running around with like 10,000 hit points at level 10. You can take on all the group content that you want until eventually you're strong enough to be an entire raid force that you can take on stuff yourself. Or maybe if you go at it with like 2 or 3 other people. I would also really like to see a server where mercenaries drop from level 1 from launch, and maybe your mercenaries, God, I know the ongoing joke with my channel that I've always said it would be really cool if you had 2 mercenaries, but it would be really cool If you were starting with like a tank merc and a healing merc, or if you're a tank, you have a DPS and a healing merc, or if you're a healer, you have a tank and a DPS merc, something like that. Like you have the perfect makeup for your own little group and you can just run around and see the game. Maybe even like lead you towards expansions that you haven't seen before. Because there's so many people that come in and they're like, oh yeah, the last expansion I played was the Torment of Valius. Or God, I'm like naming off all these late expansions. Their last expansion was like Shadows of Luclin or Scars of Valius. So many people haven't seen any of those expansions. It'd be really cool to remove the barrier to entry there so they can actually see some of the cool content they did put together. Like the Meritos raid from the Burning Lands. That's such a cool raid. Some really, really cool mechanics in it. But the fact that I had never heard of it in all of my years of EverQuest and all the time that I play, I had never heard of this raid. And that's saying something. That's really fucking saying something considering. I don't know. That's just kind of my perspective to it. I really do. And all of these just maybe like hopes and dreams and vain and shit like that too. I'm just sitting over here talking like, oh man, how cool would it be if we had, you know, this, and this, and obviously, obviously it comes down to how much they want to do it themselves, which they may not want to. Maybe from their perspective, all they want EverQuest to be is something that they can just pump out the minimal content and keep people happy, which is cool. You know, if that's your perspective, then I'll keep playing. You know, I'll play until I burn out again, which I still feel a little bit of the burnout from this last year, but it was because I was playing and streaming damn near every day. I've actually found, especially after talking with my spouse about how much I needed to step back, because I got to the point to where like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I would get home from work, my mind was on, I need to sit down and stream. I need to sit down. I need to stream. I need to do this. I have to be thinking about the next kind of video that I want to put out. I need to record. Oh, also, I need to make sure that I was putting everything off. And it's so frustrating that almost like I felt so wound up that I was just ready to pop. And it's not a good feeling. So I've essentially had to like pull myself through what felt like symptoms of withdrawal or the constant push. And it's just not good. Let's see, 45. Dulac Harbor. Skyfire Mountains. Fuck me. Gross. We're going to Dulac. We love Dulac. Dulac is awesome. Wait a second. Why am I going over here? Gotta go over here. Gotta go all the way over here. Oh man, here's a place that I haven't been to in a while. But yeah. It would be really cool to see some sort of a mix up for this coming year, because my hope was for Teak to be that mix up, and it definitely wasn't. And Teak fizzled out for me like all in 2 or 3 weeks. Even playing with friends was something that wasn't able to salvage Teak for me. And then Fangbreaker, I basically installed the game. I made a character and looked at it and I was like, oh man, I can't do it. I just can't do it. That's whenever the burnout had been so apparent for me that I just couldn't force myself to play the game. And I feel bad because I made a video recently talking about how I didn't want to be fake and do something that I didn't want to do, but I did it for a while. And that's part of the reason why I know like what it looks and feels and sounds like. And fuck, I really just don't ever want to do that again. This is the type of thing that makes me love EverQuest again, because I can just boot up the game. I can do some, stupid shit, run around with the character, just looking at all these zones that I used to spend so much time in, and just kind of jibber jabber about the good old times and the hopes that I want to see for future content. That's another thing that this game could use at this point. If we don't get a stat squish, we could use another expansion that drops and basically gives everyone an avenue from like 1 to max again. Even if it's like another Eldon type expansion, Lost Dungeons of Norath type expansion, where you've got these big open world zones and you can get like instances of those zones to go through and solo and have a good time, but you can do it all in like one linear, just straight upward shot from like 1 to 130. Something like that would be really cool too. I do really like how they've been giving us new class race combinations. As a Drizzt Doer Dern enjoyer, it was cool to see Dark Elf Ranger. Like really fucking cool to see Dark Elf Ranger with the Outer Brood, and the fact that they're doing Vashir Druid soon. I thought that was pretty cool too. That's another what I would call success. There we go. 5.9% from blues. Okay. Oh, dude, we need some run speed is what we need. We need some run speed. Ooh, claim. Rodsit Knife Heritage Crate? No. Potions. Here we go. There we go. Much better. I wonder what illusion you can get from the Rodset Knife Heritage Crate. I'm gonna have to look that up later. But yeah, next week for raids, depending on how things go, I'll probably end up just recording raids and just be sitting here talking like this. I'll probably end up doing something like that. Because we're at the point with these raids that I've done these enough now that I don't really need to listen to people barking at me. Ooh, level 40. We got innate power. What's that? Archetype. Prowess, sorry. Increases damage by 10%. Oh, that's right. I forgot about those. That's one of the reasons our damage starts to skyrocket. The increases your melee damage pretty substantially as we go up and up and up. So not just our weapons getting better, our melee damage in general getting better and better. Very nice. Okay. Fuck, I forgot about that. Kill these guys. We're going to work our way over to the ships. And I think we'll be pretty good here until at least 45. Depends on how fast we're killing, which right now it looks like it's going to start picking up pretty quick. Man, I really wish that Beastlord and Bards got a little bit of a class revitalization. I would really like to see Beastlords and Bards get like double attack by like 45. I think there's some cool things that could really shake up class balance. Because in classic EverQuest, I mean, you're just going to keep seeing like the race to world first being like, 3 or 4 enchanters or mages within a couple enchanters and a cleric. Just because of how much more powerful they are because of pets. One of those fine line balances, you know what I mean? here, buddy. Oh, you spin me right round. There we go. Yeah, here we go. We're getting like 10% of kills still, which is pretty good considering. Because everything's going to really start to slow down now that we're in our 40s. But I will say our damage is starting to look quite a bit better. Once we hit like level 60, we're going to notice a drastic change in difficulty. Stuff is actually going to start doing damage to us. And our damage is going to start being insufficient to maintain our pace. Because we're going to start getting to the point where everything starts having double and triple the hit points for no reason whatsoever. Because we've now graduated from what is typically solo stuff to what is group stuff, which I get it for balance. Like we're actually expecting people at this point to have 6 people sitting here poking this enemy from behind. Shit, I mean, at this rate, maybe we'll be here till 46 or 47. Even with it being a hot zone. Once we pull out the Merc, stuff slows down 30%, which is another thing I really wish they would change. Mercenaries taking a portion of your EXP like they're a group member, but not giving you the bonus for having a group member. It's a big oof. Big, big, big oof. We have this whole other boat over there with higher level enemies. Oh, I keep wondering why I'm getting stunned, and then I remember that I'm not a fucking ogre. And that's why I almost always used to choose like ogre for any of these races, which I probably should have done. But that's okay. XRs just look better. We are still cruising for a bruising though, which is really nice. Can I pull the mount out? I can. There we go. Oof. It's some spasm jitters right there. One thing I will say that I got spoiled is having the imprisoned Sokakar mount on Mischief. It is the ludicrous speed mount. Literally the fastest mount in the game, which they've never made another of, which is a big complaint. Worth every penny. Also one of the few items that are actually no trade on that server. Here. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to be Alsteroni at like 45. Well, we'll probably be pretty close to 46 by the time we finish clearing this boat, because this whole area right here is the highest level stuff here. These guys will go all the way up to level 47 or 48. We're just not going to want to sit here and wait for respawns. Yeah, the fact that even these guys are starting to survive this long with the kind of damage that we're putting out. It's a little insane. At least so far, since we were smart with the 2 items we chose for Vampiric Draw and Sympathetic Healing Blessing, yeah. Both heals are going to help keep us alive for a very long time, so we probably won't need a mercenary healer for a little while. But definitely once we get to like level 70 content, it's going to start, things are going to start pumping. If I remember correctly, whenever I went to Valdhome, level 80 hot zone at one point is whenever things started really hitting the fan, because we're also going to get down to like getting 1 or 2% EXP a kill. And then I think that's even a hot zone. I think without a hot zone, it'll be like 0.5% EXP. And then, man, by the time you just get to 100, shit just slows down. Even with them increasing the EXP bonuses you get from grinding from like 101 to 120 now, it still needs to be increased tenfold. 100%. My mind will not be changed. Because being in a group and getting like 0.01% EXP a kill feels real bad, man. Even if you're killing at a greatly increased pace. If you're getting like 2 to 3 AAs a kill, you should at least be getting like 0.5% EXP a kill. Because leveling doesn't matter anymore in the end game. So what if the expansion drops and then you have people who are max level in a single day? What does it matter? Just increase the EXP gain like tenfold from like 75 all the way up to 130. Especially for people who are having to rely on Overseer or killing content that's 5 expansions older. Ooh. There's a thought process. Yeah, we're not even going to be level 46 by the time we're done here. Let's kill Quigley. Oh, that's right. He won't even let us attack him. I think he's an SK 1.5 guy or something. Yep. 45. We ended right where we thought we would. Yeah, look at this gear. Almost 5,000 hit points on these legs. We've got ferocity 11, like we're already supposed to be double attacking, but it's not doing us any good. Once we get double attack at 71, we're just gonna be fucking bam, 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 bam. It's gonna be so good. And with cleave, at least with cleave, we're critting a lot. Yeah, these guys are all, what are we getting here for a kill? On a Dark Con. 5.5%. I mean, shit, that's really not bad. The light blue give us 2%, 3.6. Jesus. If only things were weighed this way in the higher levels. Maybe not as drastic as this, but fuck. There we go, 46. We can enter the plains now. Ooh, we know what that means. We can go to Plane of Justice. If I have a teleport, which I don't think I do. We're just gonna have to origin. Anywho's, that's going to end our little return, our little ramble here, guys. I know this is not streaming, and I know this is not content typically that you were expecting. But for the sake of my sanity, we'll probably be doing this for a little bit. Whenever we have more time on our hands, we'll stream. But whenever I just want to sit back and chill and word vomit and talk about my hopes and things that I would really like to see for EverQuest, we're going to do this. This has been really fun. We're going to continue our little adventure on Vaniki another time. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all next time.